Welcome back. You're still watching World Insight. I'm Tian Wei. In the past 6 months, unprecedented disputes and violence have hit the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. The Hong Kong HKSAR government said since June, the region had more than 900 demonstrations, marches, and public rallies, many of them violent. Ho Kwan-yiu, a member of the Hong Kong HKSAR Legislative Council, has been target of radical forces. Mr. Ho was stabbed on the campaign trail in November. He lost his seat in the local election eventually. Some people do see him as a hero, while others regard him as controversial. So what makes him controversial, and what does he believe? What do you think is the future of Hong Kong, and how is that reflected in the conversation I had with him? In a one-on-one interview with him, he sheds light on controversies hounding him as a politician, but at the same time expressed directly his hope for the future in Hong Kong. Mr. Ho, welcome to CGTN. You failed in the recent election. Tell me about your reaction to that.
Yes, I failed to gain the seat and to be re-elected last time. I was not happy, and but given all the backgrounds leading up to the election itself, everybody understood that it was quite an unusual election. There was a lot of unfairness and not equal treatment to all the candidates.
You were not happy. You were not happy about your own performance or your own result, or generally speaking, the whole election?
Well, of course, I myself would also be part of the reason. However, that was not the major reason. The thing that surrounding the district council election, well, that before it happened, we had already gone through almost half a year riotous moments, a lot of demonstrations, and even riots happened. People were attacked, including myself, when I was doing my street stations to law before the support. So all these were not desirable. In fact, law-breaking events happening every day, almost every day, leading up to the election day itself.
But here, in Beijing, when you were attending one of those conferences, you became a star and a hero, certainly. How do you see the different reactions coming from mainland and also from Hong Kong about you also?
Yeah, it is quite a stark difference between Hong Kong and the mainland. I guess my ordeal, which had been vividly witnessed by the viewers, my friends on the mainland, had received, well, offered me a lot of sympathy and also support. And in fact, the situation in Hong Kong is quite the other way around. We had a very clear division in the public views, in the public opinions. Either you support or become or being patriotic or not patriotic. So the difference, the political difference, and the stance in Hong Kong is so divided. Nevertheless, as I've just said that many times before, the things happen in Hong Kong is not just a simple matter starting from internal. It was also affected by some other foreign influence and foreign factors. So I would put it in a succinct term, it is and still ongoing a color code revolution. So therefore, population in Hong Kong were clearly divided, whereas it gave quite a different opinion and a different impression on the mainland. Those who support me feel that what I've been doing was just right and correct. So therefore, it's just quite a big surprise to me that I received quite a different treatment here on the mainland, which in fact I would be very proud of, and very honored to have this sort of support from the mainland people here.
You suggested that there were others interfere in Hong Kong, but do you have real evidence for that?
Yes, we have seen some glaring evidence, and even given the recent crackdown of some sort of the illicit money by the AML, anti-money laundering, by the police, a total amount of $70 million
Hong Kong dollars or US dollars?
Well, seized from an bank account. So that signifies what? For whatever Carter Code movement or revolution, no money, no talk. So therefore, money is the essence. So where does the money come from? Either from Hong Kong locally or some, foreign funding. So it is just it's part of it's tip of an iceberg. It's part of the evidence that speaks for itself. And secondly, we had also seen some other foreigners, strangers, mingling with the rioters and also the demonstrators at the streets. They were not journalists. Why were they there? And in fact, we had also seen a picture which was so clear that to show that this stranger was teaching and demonstrating to another young guy how to set fire, be an arsonist. So that was also a glaring evidence that we've seen. There are so many other traces too, but of course, if you ask me whether or not these are strong enough to support the case that it is a foreign factored, influenced Color Code revolution, I may not come up to the test as required as for the trial, which is usually conducted in the courtroom. However, suffice it to say, yes, there is foreign evidence, foreign factors.
You have a very clear pro-Beijing label in Hong Kong politically.
Yeah, if you put it that way, it's a pro-Beijing. In fact, I think I am a Chinese, so it's not just a pro-Beijing with that narrow definition. I'm a Chinese, a patriotic Chinese.
But on the other hand, it is also a complicated process for a political figure like you, because you're a legislative member, to work out your future plans. So how would you reconcile certain labels people give to you and your responsibility as a legislative member to look at some of the most important and fundamental issues facing Hong Kong today? How would you be able to identify clearly your personal print vis-a-vis the real big cause of Hong Kong?
I see no disagreement or
conflict
as such. Hong Kong is a SAR, Special Administrative Region, a part of China. So being patriotic is all, fitting in, actually. There's no conflict as such. But given some of the background Hong Kong that she has before the sovereignty returned to China, Hong Kong had been a British colony, so therefore there were people who had made allegiance to the Queen before. So for those who might have some difference or difficulties, well, to me, I don't have it. I don't have that sort of baggage. And secondly, when looking or dealing with the issues in Hong Kong, majority of them are relating to our daily life, the policies, how to improve the living standards, how to command a greater competitiveness of Hong Kong vis-a-vis international markets. So there's no conflict as such that when one claims himself to be Chinese, and on the other hand, that declaration would hinder him in advancing all these sort of issues. No, there's no such conflict at all. But some people, my colleagues, some of them, they are the opposition, of the opposition party. They say that, being patriotic, you are obstructing the progress of the universal suffrage. Well, again, that is a misconception. Under the basic law, universal suffrage, be it for the the direct election of the chief executive or returning members, candidates to the Legislative Council. There's no such thing to say that being patriotic or being a Chinese or pro-Beijing would tantamount any difficulty or obstructions to such a progress. Everything has been promised under the Basic Law, so it has to be done on a gradual basis. The reason why it was stopped simply because the last term, the electoral members themselves, they voted it down. So therefore, that was the reason.
Do you blame them for that?
I don't blame them. Why should we have to? Why should I have to? Whatever the choice is the choice of Hong Kong people, and they were the representative of the Hong Kong people. I respect that, but one could not just, you know, have the cake and eat it to say that when they screw it up on the one hand and they put the blame on other people.
I see.
They were responsible for their own acts, and they did it themselves in the last term. This term is the 6th term, because the 5th term was that the issue, the motion was put forth, and they clearly, with the conscience, to vote it down. They did it themselves.
Do you see these kinds of division ever increasing in Hong Kong? This is only one issue. There are many other issues.
Yeah, there were so many issues. In fact, some of the livelihood issues were unfortunately dragged into, well, being politicized. And I see that they were totally uncalled for.
Yeah.
And that's the politics in Hong Kong. But as I said, I do not see any problem when I claim myself to be patriotic, should be the person to be blamed. But, you know, that question should be put back to those, why should it be blamed?
My question for you also, you're a lawyer.
Yes.
So let me ask you about how should people, from your perspective, understand the legal structures? And now we are not here for a lecture, but rather very briefly. We have the national constitution. We also have one country, two systems. We also have rules and regulations coming from the SAR government. So now there are a mixture of legislation pieces. And there's also different views as to what to apply at what occasion. So to you, what are the priorities? How should we understand this rainbow of legislations, and how do they work together?
Well, if one really wants to work out the relationship between the basic law and also the national constitution, then he should really have to sit down and study them. And the basic law just derived from the national constitution, that is for sure. So when the SAR was established, it was established in accordance with Article 31 of the national constitution, because as I've just said, you know, Hong Kong has her own historical background, and that was something that, you know, the Central People's Government respected. So that's why when taking back the sovereignty of Hong Kong, to include it into the mainland, the CPG pay attention to it and pay respect to it. So that's why it creates the special administrative region. It is a place, administrative region with high, autonomy. Still, it is a city under the directive of the CPG, the Central People's Government. So that is already set out in Article 12 of the Basic Law.
Okay. Another question. Do you enjoy being a controversial figure?
I enjoy what I am and what I'm doing. I hope that if there was really a good chance, a good choice for me to choose from, I don't think that, you know, being controversial is good. And under the circumstances...
That's not your purpose.
That's not my purpose. The only thing is that, as you just said, you know, people in Hong Kong had some sort of a political stance and find it not really receptive to those politicians who claim, or vividly or so clearly claiming themselves to be pro-Beijing or being Chinese or patriotic Chinese. So therefore they label these people, including me. But on the other hand, I fight for what is supposed to be correct, and I defend the position that it should be defended. So I openly and quite, you know, outspoken on all this issue.
Finally, before we go,
Yeah.
tell us, how would you deal with the future of Hong Kong? Let's just say, a month, a year, 5 years. Do you think things will really be different?
It will become better, but I don't have the crystal ball in my hand. I can't really predict. Nobody could have predicted, the things happen in 2019. Nevertheless, I still have the hope and be optimistic about the future.
Yeah.
So therefore, I would just try to do whatever I could within my ability as a legislative councillor to put things right and through the legal manner, through the legal means.
Did you recover from the stabbing wound?
Fully.
Fully.
Yeah.
Is there still a mark?
A scar on my chest, just close to my heart.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Ho. And that is all the time we have for today. If you'd like to see more, try to find us, World Inside CGTN, into your search engine. Check out our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Sina Weibo. From me, Tian Wei, and everyone on World Inside team, thanks for watching. Tune in again next time for more insights across China and around the world. Christmas Eve is here, so enjoy the holidays.